Welcome to the broadcast. These are the top stories.
Tonight, we dig deeper into the wanted doctor's life. His parents too don't understand what went wrong.
Nileta kuomba nini saidizi alisema huyu kijana ni daktari street.
A quack doctor now, James Mogondishu, is still on the run.
Plus, mothers so disappointed they wish death upon their criminal sons.
Nikabia OCS nataka tikisa 25. Ndio akikuja huku akuja kama mediform. Juu sasa mtoto wangu hiyo age yote yake imekufa. Hata angekuwa amekufa.
We take you to Dandora where extrajudicial killings are condemned and praised in equal measure.
Also, same market, another fire but a different fire brigade.
Na kwa kweli hatujawahi ona hivi tena. Tumeshukuru sana kwa zima moto.
Watu wa kuzima moto round hii wamejaribu sana. Hii moto ingechoma Gikomba yote.
About 100 stalls raised in Gikomba market, but further damage is controlled.
Also ahead, from physical fights on the floor to threats of impeaching speakers and governors.
Small thing triggers them. That is why they go defensive. If a trip they miss, then they feel it is an injustice against them. It's like, Speaker, you should understand our plight.
Have the country's MCAs gone rogue?
NTV Tonight with Dennis Okari and Olive Burrows.
Remember, you can also watch us live on ntv.co.ke/live or using the NTV Kenya handle on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. Our sign language interpreter tonight is David Agondoa.
Nairobi County has the highest number of court cases involving quack health personnel and facilities such as clinics and pharmacies, according to Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentist Board.
In stepping up the fight against quack practitioners in the industry, Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Board has unveiled and issued a security code 20547 that will enable members of the public verify legitimate and illegitimate practitioners.
NTV's Seth Olale also reports that the Health Practitioners Board is doubling its routine crackdown operation on unregistered health entities in the country.
James Mugo Ndichu, alias Dr. Mugo wa Wairimu, is among the 23 accused persons charged with various offenses relating to operating clinics without a valid license and forgery. While most offenses pertain making false documents and impersonation, James Mugo bears the most serious offense, rape. This is according to a list of 23 blacklisted individuals and facilities forwarded to the Inspector General of Police by the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentist Board in June 2017.
We first of all arrested him in the beginning of 2015. That time he was operating a clinic in Kasarani area and we took him to the police station. Apparently, he was released on cash bail and the matter never progressed to the next level.
Some of the offenders charged in court include Ronald Meli Kiprotich, accused of forgery and impersonation at Kibera Law Courts, Job Omosa Ratemo, charged with forgery in Nairobi, Joyce Nasitia, charged with forgery in Kisii, Gilbert Achachi Moseti, charged with operating a clinic without a valid license in Busia, Newton Otieno and Henry Njeru, jointly charged with operating a clinic without a valid license in Mombasa, Oduor Obono, charged with making a document without authority in Kisumu, Joyce Nduku and Mutisia, jointly charged with operating a medical clinic as a medical person not registered by KMPDB, among others. Nairobi County has the highest number of cases at 12, followed by Kisii, Kisumu and Mombasa respectively. The accused, if found guilty, will most likely evade prison due to the lenient penalties under the provisions of the KMPDB Act Cap 253. For instance, Section 19 of the KMPDB Act states that a person who willfully procures or attempts to procure himself or be registered or licensed by producing fraudulent representation or declaring either orally or in writing bears a fine not exceeding 3,000 shillings or imprisonment for a term not exceeding 12 months or both.
Are proposing 5 million shillings. So that if you are caught and you are a quack, you're not qualified, is 5 million shillings.
The practitioners watchdog has also unveiled a security code number 20547 that outlines all the registered medics and health facilities in the country. KMPDB also announced that it will carry out a minimum of 2 raids every month targeting quack medics and health facilities such as dispensaries, clinics and pharmacies. The operations are currently ongoing in Isiolo County and will next move to Kajiado and Machakos counties. Seth Olale, NTV.
Well, that security code right there, again, I'll repeat the security code number 20547. That is 20547. That's the new number that the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Board have unveiled today, where you can actually text that number to verify whether a clinic or health facility that you're visiting is either legitimate or illegitimate.
Well, the name Mugo wa Wairimu is not new to Kenyans, at least as at now. But what many still do not know is that behind that name lies the image of a man who has been on the run, not only from himself and the authorities, but also from a tainted past.
Silas Apollo looks into Mugo's frequent run-ins with the law.
To any casual observer, James Mugo Ndishu, alias Mugo wa Wairimu, the now infamous quack doctor, could easily pass for a man whose quest for relevance is his biggest undoing. Close friends and family paint the picture of a man they consider black sheep in a family that has produced successful medics.
He first shot into the limelight in 2015 after an expose about his prestige care clinic exposed how it sedate women before raping them.
The secret recording, which went viral, prompted the police to arrest the then little-known Mugo wa Wairimu and charge him in court in 2015. Documents tabled before court show that Mugo had administered sedatives to a woman before raping her. The prosecution charged him with 11 accounts, which included running an unregistered pharmacy and a clinic. He was also accused of employing an unregistered laboratory technician. Mugo had at that time claimed that he was a gynecologist. At the time of his prosecution, the court was further told that Mugo was facing another criminal trial before another court, where he was charged with operating a theatre illegally. He would later be released on a cash bail of 1 million shillings in October 2015. But his woes would later return in 2016 after he was charged afresh with multiple counts of operating an illegal clinic and administering unknown drugs to a patient with the intention of overpowering her, as well as a crime of raping a sedated woman. After his arrest and subsequent arraignment, where he pleaded not guilty, many thought that he would keep a low profile. Mugo has an active online presence where he has twice declared interest in running for a political seat, the latest being the Roysambu parliamentary seat. He is said to have been so well connected that at some point in 2013, he got access to some of the classified information regarding the International Criminal Court case long before the authorities did. Silas Apollo, NTV.
The parents of the rogue doctor Mugo wa Wairimu have spoken. The family claims their son is a legitimate doctor but admits to awareness of only his nursing qualifications, which they say he acquired at the University of Nairobi, graduating with a Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree.
NTV spoke with Dr. Mugo's parents, who described their son as bright and hardworking. The family also claims Mugo is surrounded by enemies who want to see his downfall. Meanwhile, police are yet to arrest Mugo.
In the outskirts of Dagoretti is where we meet Mugo wa Wairimu's parents. Their son, James Mugo Ndichu, alias Dr. Mugo wa Wairimu, is currently the most talked about person in the country for all the wrong reasons. Since the NTV expose, the family has had to contend with all the negative stories surrounding their son. Mugo grew up in Dagoretti. He is the fourth in a family of 6. Regina Wairimu says her son has always been a top student since primary school.
Aliongoza study 1 mpaka 8 akiwa namba 1. Alipita na 540 out of 700.
He then proceeded to Dagoretti High School, where he sat for the KCSE exams.
Alisoma na mashinda, akawa anafukuzwa shule, lakini mwisho mwaka wa 4 alipita na B+. Akaitwa Nairobi University. Akasoma miaka 2 huko Nairobi University Siromo.
He later joined Kenya Medical Training College, KMTC.
Alisoma miaka 2. Akagraduate. Hii mapicha yote tulisipiwa siku hiyo. Tanjibu tu ndio hakuenda. Aliitwa nini? Hii kosi ya medicine nursing.
According to the family, Mugo has always been hardworking. That's why he decided to open his own clinics. And what does the family think about the NTV expose, where Mugo is seen performing illegal abortions on girls and women, operating with impunity after injecting himself with unknown drugs to get high, while bragging openly that no one can arrest him?
Hii mambo ingine zi toka wapi? Sijui nani alimweka. Au ni nini sijui mimi. Sijui nini liendelea.
Mimi siwezi, hata sasa sijajua. Mimi nangoja kama watu wengine. Sasa sababu mtu anaweza kwenda hata kwa mtoto wako, amkai na yeye, afanye mambo hii. Sasa siwezi kusema hapana mimi.
The parents insist that Mugo is a legit doctor who studied at the University of Nairobi. While Mugo advertises himself as a professional gynecologist, the Kenya Medical and Dentist Practitioners Board claim he's not on their register.
Kusema ni badia, ati ni daktari badia, hapo tunasikia uchungu. Sababu tunajua vile amesoma.
Lakini watu wanataka kumharibia jina, kusema ni nini? Ni wasema mambo mengine kusema ni fake doctor. Hata kuna madaktari wako Kenya hata hawezi fanya kazi kama yeye. Mimi namjua.
Mugo comes from a family of medics. One of his brother is a pharmacist while the other is a surgeon. The rogue doctor was first arrested and charged in October 2015. The family believes Mugo is being framed.
Hiyo ni fitina. Kwa maana alikuwa na kliniki kubwa sana. Hata hapo akiwa na makosa kuna fitina. Uko Kiswahili ni fitina kabisa.
Since the NTV expose aired, Mugo Wairimu has been on the run. Police are looking for him and are asking the public to volunteer information about him. Rozongoi, NTV.
Human rights groups have accused the police in Dandora, Huruma, Kayole and Mathare of the extrajudicial killing of over 24 young men in the last 21 days.
However, some residents have commended the police for the work they are doing, saying that the crime levels in the area demand a forceful response.
NTV's Charity Mwangi reports on the divided views of the public on how to deal with crime.
While most cases of alleged extrajudicial killings feature aggrieved parties defending their loved one and neighbors affirming his or her innocence, a group of women claim that parents should report their delinquent children to the police if only to save their lives. Joyce Wanja, not her real name, whose identity remains hidden for her security, says her son has been locked up at the industrial area remand after she surrendered him to the authorities. She says that she intends to keep him there until he is 25 years old because his engagement in crime may cost him his life.
Mtoto wangu alianza kuibanga kwa nyumba. Nikikuja na nikiingia kutoka kazi nakuja nakuta mtungi ya gasi hakuna. Sasa anapotea kama wiki mzima. Ilifika mahali ikafika ameanzia wizi wa kutumika, anapewa mabuduki anabeba. Mtoto imagine anapewa buduki anakuja na anaficha kwa nyumba yako. Na wewe ujui. Ukikakaa polisi ndio hawa. Kijana vile amepigwa anakuja anaonyesha na buduki, mimi naye ndani.
Hers is a unique approach. The killing of 6 young men last week sparked criticism from human rights defenders who accused the local police of being trigger-happy and failing to exhaustively conduct investigations before executing suspects.
Kuna investigations za kutosha, hela wamepatiwa, modernization ya police force, kuna a lot of technology. Hatuwezi kuwa tuna ile jungle law ana kiwe ya kudealing with the criminals.
Sasa unajua sisi ndio tumezaa, sisi ndio tumelea, ndio mashida ziko mingi, lakini unajua si atu shida ikiwa mingi, hata mimi nimelelewa na shida na si kuiba. Kuishi ni kuiba alafu uliwe uende tukakuzike.
Wakati mtoto wako amekuja na simu ya touch na huyo mtoto hafanyagi kazi, ujamuuliza hiyo simu imetoka wapi?
The seriousness of the situation was made clear by the encounter of a 22-year-old man who was the latest victim of the attacks. He was from a friend's house on his way home Tuesday night when a gang of 3 people struck.
Vijana wakuja, wakanishika, wakaninyonga, wakachukua mmoja, wawili walikuwa na visu, mmoja alikuwa na pistol.
Although residents of Dandora have conflicting ideas on how to deal with crime, they are in consensus of the fact that it is a problem that demands attention from relevant authorities. Charity Mwangi, NTV.
More than 100 traders are counting losses after their stalls went down in flames in today's dawn inferno that razed a section of Gikomba Market at the Gorofani Majengo area.
Firefighters and the residents took over 10 hours to put out the fire. Despite the losses, residents and traders in Gikomba praised the Nairobi County Fire Brigade for their immediate response, which they say ensured that the damages are minimized.
Some went ahead to give the firemen foodstuffs as gifts. NTV's Daniel Mule reports on these rather unusual happenings that saw the Nairobi Fire Brigade earn praise.
For the second time this year, a fire gutted down another section of Gikomba Market. This time it was the Gorofani Majengo area, approximately 500 meters from where the June fire tragedy happened, leading to 15 people losing their lives and 70 others seriously injured. Residents say the fire started at 2 a.m. and spread fast. It took them and firefighters from Nairobi Fire Brigade almost 10 hours to put out the fire. Over 100 stalls went down in flames, with traders trying to salvage all they could. The losses were in millions, bearing in mind most of the traders had brought in hundreds of bales to sell during the festive season. As others were busy salvaging their stock, others took advantage.
Jana watu waliangusha mizigo mingi sana hapa. Sasa hao ndio wamenusurua sana. Jumali yao yote imeishia hapa kwa moto.
Wauzi wengine walikuwa wanabeba mabeli wakienda nazo. Na mimi sikuwa nayo haja. Mimi haja yangu ilikuwa nikuja nizime hii moto nisaidiana hapa.
Despite the losses, residents praised the Nairobi Fire Brigade for getting to the scene in time and for managing to contain the fire in one section of the market and stop the very real threat of a spread to other areas. Nairobi County Fire Department Chief Officer Ann Mwenda attributing the swiftness of the fire brigade to the decentralization of the fire engines to the 17 zones in Nairobi. The firefighters used their creativity connecting 3 fire engines to each other to enable them reach the core of the fire several meters from the main road. Some businessmen gave the firefighters gifts, water, cooking oil, among other foodstuffs, as a way of appreciating them for their outstanding response and service.
Watu wa kuzima moto round hii wamejaribu sana. Hii moto ingechoma Gikomba yote.
Tungeomba serikali na viongozi hasa wa hii soko washughulikie hili jambo, hata kama ni security ya usiku waangalie sana, kwa sababu chanzo cha moto ndio muhimu ambayo itaponya hii shida ya moto.
Though there were no casualties, residents want the president to demand answers on the perennial fires at Gikomba. There has been no official report released to the public from the task force formed under the president's order to investigate the June fire. Daniel Mule, NTV.
The Homa Bay County Assembly today turned into a battleground when a group of MCAs blocked the Speaker Elizabeth Ayo from accessing her office.
Ayo, who had been impeached last week, returned to the Assembly with a reinstatement order from the Employment and Labor Relations Court, but a group of MCAs were not ready to accept it. NTV's Sharon Baranga reports.
Homa Bay County Assembly was the scene of a battle where kicks and blows were not enough, chairs came in handy. Others could only shout to get their point across. Others cheered from the periphery. This a group of members of county assemblies out to block their embattled Speaker Elizabeth Ayo from getting into her office. But MCAs allied to Ayo were not taking it lightly. They stood their ground and fought for her, and this resulted in the mayhem. Ayo had arrived at the assembly in the morning, but was blocked by 2 other vehicles that had parked at the assembly's main entrance. This did not deter her. Accompanied by about 30 youth and armed police officers, she opted to walk to her office. Ayo had been impeached last week over claims of incompetence, but she returned to the assembly after obtaining a reinstatement order from the Employment and Labor Relations Court in Kisumu. Judge James Rika ordered the Homa Bay OCS to ensure that there was no interference on the return of the Speaker, but MCAs opposed to Ayo defied the court order and went to battle to show their defiance. Sharon Baranga, NTV.
County Assembly speakers want the impeachment threshold for them in the legislative bodies raised. They told the Senate's Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights Committee that MCAs were abusing their power in the assemblies and threatening them, which made them work a constant environment of fear.
They want to be protected from threats by MCAs. The Senate's Justice and Legal Affairs Committee today held a meeting with the County Assembly's Forum to discuss the wave of impeachments against county speakers.
On Tuesday, a group of Nyandarua MCAs removed their Speaker Wahome Ndegwa and elected an acting Speaker, Gabriel Gadhure, in his place. The new wave of impeachments have thrown more speakers in different counties off balance. The latest incident, a fight on Wednesday as MCAs in Homa Bay fought over a reinstatement order by the court after the Speaker Elizabeth Ayo was impeached last week.
My name is Joshua Kipto.
The speakers say they don't have job security.
A small thing triggers them. That is why they go defensive. If a trip they miss, then they feel it is an injustice against them. It's like, Speaker, you should understand our plight. We have to raise this money. We have to go back to the people. So one of the societal challenge that I see that causes all these problems begins from that aspect. The MCA has so much pressure, even the remuneration we give. They come back to me honestly and show me their pay slip.
Joshua Kipto, the County Assembly's Forum chairman, told the Senate's Justice and Legal Affairs Committee that the County Assembly speakers are vulnerable and cannot perform their duties to the levels expected. According to Kipto, being a county speaker in the county is a tough job where you are always worried about losing your job anytime instead of working.
Either align with government or perish. Number two, you find speakers, second option speakers do choose to not do their work. Just sit in a corner and be calm. Don't touch, don't dare, don't complain. So that you tell the members you're free to do what you want to do. I will not come along your way.
In less than a year, there have been several cases of county speakers being impeached. They now want the government to strengthen the office of the speaker. The Senate committee was chaired by Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei. Halima Gongo, NTV.
21 minutes past 9, NTV Tonight takes a short break, but we will be right back with more stories for you.
Thank you for staying with us. The family of former Garissa Finance CEC Idris Mukta has filed a petition at the High Court this afternoon challenging the validity of Garissa Governor Ali Korane's stay in office.
Through his lawyers, Kanjama advocate Aidan Mukhtar, the father of Idris, states that the issue of Korane's master's degree being purported to be fake was the reason for the shooting of his son.
The family is now urging the DPP and DCI to work faster to get to the bottom of the matter, as 3 months down the line, they feel that their son may not get justice he deserves.
In the petition, the family is seeking that the court declares the Garissa governor's seat vacant or removal from office of the governor.
Idris is currently in India, where he was flown on October the 10th.
We are disputing the MBA degree certificate that he used to be nominated by IEBC. And we're also disputing a few of his foreign degrees, which we believe have not been authenticated by the Commission for University Education. So ultimately, in our petition, we are seeking the removal of Mr. Korane as the sitting governor of Garissa County.
Our hopes of getting justice is fading, is almost diminishing. I am going to see my child. Tomorrow I am flying off Kenya and go to Mumbai to see him with a broken heart. There's no justice here. This petition will go to the High Court and we'll see if we can now get another justice from the judges.
Poor parental guidance, poverty and disco matangas or gatherings ahead of and after funerals are the root causes for teen pregnancies in Kilifi County.
These, according to residents and education stakeholders in the region, are social challenges that equally need a sober approach to mitigate the surging numbers of pregnancies among schoolgirls.
Kevin Mutai was in Kilifi and has filed the following report.
Many parents in Ganze, Kilifi County, with teenage daughters who have either given birth or are still pregnant, are a worried lot about the laxity of school administrations to address the issue. Muliweza kumripoti kwa polisi?
Bado hatujaripoti.
Mbona hamjamripoti?
Sasa nilifuatilia mambo ya shule, wakasema watapeleka habari huko ofisini, ningoje wataniambia, na bado hawajaniambia.
Kama sisi wazee wa vijiji huwa mara nyingine hata hatuhusishwi. In fact, kama umeambiwa hizo habari huwa umechelewa kwanza.
It is a dicey situation for some of the young mothers who find themselves in situations they never anticipated. It is alleged that some have even colluded with their relatives to hide the men responsible for the pregnancies for fear of being the legal repercussions that may land the perpetrators in prison. Ungetaka achukuliwe hatua?
Hapana.
Kwa nini?
Sasa akienda mtoto atahudumana na.
But who are responsible for these pregnancies?
Watu wengi huwa ekea maneno sisi kwa bodaboda ndio ambao wanaharibu watoto, lakini sijaona bodaboda, na hata kama wako ni kidogo.
Huwa ni wengi ambao wanapatikana pale sokoni. Na pale sokoni watatoka karibu saa 2 za usiku na hawaendi kununua chochote.
Hili linachangiwa ni laxity ya wazazi kutojukumika katika kutekeleza majukumu yao, ili kuona kwamba yule msichana anatunzwa vilivyo.
And then there is the issue of disco matanga, a ceremony where members of the community socialize late in the evenings to comfort friends and families that have lost their loved ones.
Mimi kama mzazi, kama mimi nitabaki kwa nyumba nikiwa na umri wa juu na mtoto wangu wa miaka 10 ameenda disco matanga, ni kumaanisha mimi kama mzazi sijawajibika vilivyo. Kwa hivyo hiyo nayo pia ni changamoto mojawapo ambayo inatutatiza.
The Ministry of Education says that it is planning to roll out policies to address the issue of pregnancies in schools, which has lately become a major topic of discussion. Hundreds of candidates have taken their KCPE and KCSE exams, either nursing babies in hospitals or even expectant. Kevin Mutai, NTV, in Kilifi County.
We take a break, but I'll be back with the business news. Time for the business news. The Ministry of Agriculture has established a task force with a view to reviving the sugar sector. This follows a directive from President Uhuru Kenyatta to establish task forces aimed at streamlining operations of the maize and sugar sectors. The two are critical sectors of the country's agriculture pillar and have in recent years faced gross mismanagement of public assets as well as inefficiencies in operations that have led to damaged livelihoods for farmers.
Assessing Kenya's competitiveness as a sugar-producing country will be one of the key mandates of the task force. Its findings are likely to be a matter of great interest, coming just 4 months after Kenya secured a 2-year extension of a safeguard on imports from the common market for Eastern and Southern Africa region.
We are still protected another 2 years, but this must come to an end. That is why we are saying even other countries are tired of us. If we cannot sort out our issues, every 2 years we want another extension.
Thousands of livelihoods, particularly in the western part of the country's sugar belt, have been adversely affected by poor management of state assets in the sugar industry, with the industry's potential far from being realized. The volume of sugar produced in the country is not sufficient to meet the demand, which means Kenya imports the product. That scenario has seen unscrupulous businessmen take advantage to import sugar illegally and make handsome returns from selling it to unsuspecting customers. The task force, which has 30 days to deliver its report, is expected to, among other things, provide guidance on how best to revitalize state-owned sugar millers.
I don't want to preempt. We have said that they are going to give us recommendations. And I believe that that should be one of the recommendations that will be coming up, whether to privatize or not.
It is a race against time, as the new sugar task force has exactly 30 days to deliver what should be a blueprint for the recovery of a sector whose fortunes are fast dwindling. Julian Samboko, NTV.
A section of farmers and leaders from the North Rift region have opposed a fresh bid by the national government to privatize state-owned milk processor New KCC. They say that the move will harm farmers since it will result in milk price fluctuations. Here's Gabriel Kudaka with the details about the various interested parties in the management of the national processor.
In 2015, farmers from the North Rift region had raised concerns over privatization of the new KCC, a matter which was under speculation, forcing the Privatization Commission to speak up to allay their fears. And now, 2 years later, farmers are again at it, protesting the planned disposal of the state-owned milk processor alongside 25 other state-owned parastatals.
KCC ni mali ya mkulima. Kwa hivyo kama chochote ijafanyika katika KCC, lazima mkulima stakeholder ahusishwe.
The farmers allege that the move will expose milk prices to fluctuations that could reduce their margins and potentially lead to losses.
Bei ya maziwa imekuwa ikienda juu ikirudi chini, ikienda juu ikirudi chini, lakini regulatory board ambaye inasimamia maneno ya KCC inaweka price ya kuokoa mkulima.
KCC now has really improved and it is doing very well. I don't see the reason why KCC is amongst the parastatals, or rather the companies that needs to be sold. So I don't know what has happened and what has changed, because as we left it in the 11th Parliament, we had finalized and there was a team of farmers who came. We really discussed a lot about it and we agreed that it should be returned to the farmers.
According to data from the Kenya Dairy Board, the state farm increased its market share from 23% to 35% in 2017 to close in on Brookside Dairy Limited, which commands a 40% share. County governments in the North Rift region economic bloc have, however, expressed interest in buying and managing the milk farm on behalf of the farmers in the region.
All the counties in North Rift region have their economies based on agriculture, and milk is one of the products that we produce in the region. And we are also looking at having stakes as county governments in these institutions that are going to be privatized on behalf of the farmers and the region.
The collapsed processor was placed under receivership in 1999 following gross mismanagement, but was brought back on its feet by the NAC regime through a cash injection of 547 million shillings in 2003. That helped turn around its fortunes, and since then it has grown from strength to strength. Over the last 3 years, the government has injected about 1 billion shillings to help modernize its operations. Gabriel Kudaka, NTV.
Residents surrounding the Sondu-Miriu hydropower plant in Kisumu County have faulted power generation company KenGen for failure to maintain the river which powers the plant that injects 16 megawatts into the national grid. The residents are now threatening to sue the company, claiming that it has impoverished their lives by making water an inaccessible and expensive commodity. Lillian Carey delves into the residents' concerns.
9 years ago, the Sondu-Miriu hydroelectric power plant was launched with a clear intent to end prolonged power outages and stabilize the power supply in Western Kenya. Residents, particularly those living in Nyakach and Kasipul Kabondo, which lies on the right and left banks of the river respectively, were ecstatic about the 19 billion shillings project. They hoped it would improve their lives by providing access to clean water, set up new schools and dispensaries in the region, and ultimately provide jobs for them. The managers of the plant, however, had a different view of its mandate, with much less in store for the residents. This is now threatening to create a rift between the company and the community.
The only water point from this area of Boch location or Apoko village is stationed at that market. Or Apoko market. It is from here, it is about 2 to 3 kilometers from here, from where we are standing. And it is very difficult for these people from here to go and fetch water up there.
The residents claim the project was controversially taken over from the community and handed over to Sana International, an NGO charged with executing rural domestic water supply and sanitation program. They say that fetching water has become a dangerous undertaking given the invasion of hippos as well as difficulty in accessing water due to excessive silt at the intake.
We are really starving. We don't have steamer. Ikiingia leo kesho huwezi pata steamer. Na sisi ndio tuna generate steamer kama naenda huku chini. They promised to give us constant light. Na hakuna hiyo.
Maji ingine iliwekwa Apoko ni mbali. Hatuwezi kuenda huko kufetch. Ng'ombe yetu tunanunua maji huko Apoko. Lakini hapa katikati hakuna maji.
The residents are now calling on KenGen to pick representatives from the 5 locations found both on the right and the left banks of the river to form a committee to address their grievances. KenGen's management declined to comment on the matter. Lillian Carey, NTV Business.
So this one is
TUI charter airline from Amsterdam has made its first maiden trip to Mombasa, carrying over 100 visitors. The airline touched down at the Moi International Airport at 8:30 a.m. with tourists from the Netherlands and other parts of Europe in a move that is expected to boost the tourism industry at the coast and the country at large. The flight comes following the government charter incentive program that will attract more direct flights to the country. Kevin Mutai has more.
The TUI airline from Amsterdam landed at the Moi International Airport Tuesday morning, and 120 tourists disembarked to a warm reception of traditional dances and gift hampers from the Tourism Minister Najib Balala. Balala reiterated that his ministry has made decisive steps towards achieving the landmark, but also highlighted various challenges at the Immigration Department, airport security and customs that need immediate attention.
We still receive a lot of complaints in Jomo Kenyatta Airport from long queues at immigration, customs, security, and particularly police are harassing people at the parking lot or otherwise. Anybody who carry luggages at customs, they get harassed. And this is not acceptable. We can't work hard to bring clients into the country and then they get frustrated at the airports.
The increase in number of charter flights to the coastal region is a major boost to tourism industry that has been slowly picking up after grappling with setbacks such as travel advisories by the European markets. But the government says plans to issue fresh charter incentives will attract more low-cost carriers to bring in more visitors and boost the sector that is the mainstay of the region's economy.
Since 2016 to now, we have spent 200 million Kenya shillings, but the value that we have brought into the country is $37 million.
Last week, a charter flight from Belgium arrived in Mombasa, indicating a positive relationship with foreign countries, with the ministry saying another airline in the UK is expected in 2019. Kevin Mutai, NTV, Mombasa.
Listed oil marketer Kenol Kobel is on a mission to widen its regional footprint following the acquisition of 33 service stations in Uganda and Rwanda. Upon completion, the move to acquire the stations from Delta Petroleum is expected to widen Kenol Kobel's network to 433 service stations across the region. This development comes barely a month after French firm Rubis Energy made public its proposed takeover of Kenol Kobel, a move which has encountered significant headwinds. And that marks the end of the business news.
with Dennis Okari and Olive Burrows.
Welcome back. English Premier League side Everton FC hammered Kenyan Premier League champions Gor Mahia 4-0 in the Sport Pesa Trophy Cup match played at the Goodison Park.
After the match, the players, technical bench, sponsor and club patron Raila Odinga were blunt in their assessment that Kogalo was out of its depth and that a lot needs to be done to professionalize football in Kenya.
Warada Kiru reports from Liverpool.
It was billed as a chance of a lifetime, a chance to make it count, a chance to change your life by getting seen by the many agents who were said to flock here at Goodison Park.
A couple of things that disappointed me today was yesterday we told them to go and buy boots, because of the weather here. Some of them didn't listen. That's the thing. We've got to be more professional. We've got to be realistic and say, right, where did we go wrong? What can we do about it?
Juu lazima uko na good boots za kutumia hapo, na some boots zetu tulikuwa nazo labda hazikuwa poa za hiyo ground. Coach ongelea story na boots, alafu vile nimekuambia sisi equipments ndio tunalemewa. Maybe tulitake jokes but ndio imetu affect. Kiangalia grao hiyo ilitaka maybe inches, karibu boots iko na inch maybe 2 or 3 inches kwenda chini. Sisi tulikuwa na zile raba tumezoea Kenya.
After a bad day in the office, Gor Mahia have lost 4-0.
Gor Mahia is a fantastic football club. They've won the title so many times. This season they won it with so many games to go. Then you've come here, you've met a top Premier League side, and then you realize that actually a very huge gap between the football that is here and the football that we play at home. So once you discover that gap, that's when the only way we can work towards improving football in our country.
The game of football was discovered, invented in England, and it's taken them very many years to reach where they've reached. We cannot expect that we begin to walk and run at the same time. But however, at the same time, I myself believe that we could do better by investing more in soccer facilities and setting up academies.
Gor Mahia players freezing on the big stage at a very cold Goodison Park.
Was the chance to come here for a win? Yes. Did we listen to instructions? No. Did we play the way Gor Mahia have played in Kenya and in CAF and in confederations the way I know that they can play? No, but you know the whole experience was something that we should learn from and take hopefully to the next stage.
For Gor Mahia, it is a learning curve that they are the best in Kenya, but here in England they still have a long way to go.
Wana take ball, wana take serious compared na sisi tunaichukulia tu kimzamza.
You know, it's not night and day. It's not miles apart. We're absolutely galaxies apart. You know, so we've got to be realistic and stop kidding ourselves.
Warote Kiru, NTV at Goodison Park.
Well, Dennis was about to take 10,000 shillings from me had the score stayed at 2-0.
I predicted the match was going to Everton would win 2-0, and by halftime they were 2-0 up. Trust me, I went home hoping it would just stay like that 2-0. But Mustafa missed a very, very crucial goal. And Okari says that even the commentator said in England he will never get such an opportunity. An open goal and he missed it. A little Lukaku.
Okay. My only thought was when I got home and I saw 2-0, I was like, this is some powerful witchcraft.
You know who Lukaku is?
No.
You don't know who Lukaku is?
No. I told you, I know very little about sports.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You'll Google that later. But Brian Okari will be here with more of sports after this break.
Brian Otual. The national women's football team Harambee Starlets drew 1-1 with Ghana at the Kasarani Stadium in a warm-up match for this month's Africa Women's Cup of Nations. Marcia Chieng scored in the 14th minute to give the hosts an early lead before Linda Eshun equalized for the visitors with 13 minutes left to the full-time from a free kick. Starlets, who will next face Mali in a friendly, are currently stranded and may not travel for the tournament in Ghana for the continental showpiece due to FKF being financially strapped. Starlets are pulled in a tough Group B with defending champions Nigeria, South Africa and Zambia.
Just like the president did.
And Kenya Shujaa launched their title defense against local side Mwamba when this year's Safari Sevens get underway on Saturday at their RFA grounds. This year's tournament will involve 12 teams drawn in 3 pools of 4 sides each. Shujaa, who are chasing their 9th cup success, are in Pool A alongside Mwamba, who replaced Burkina Faso, Apache from United Kingdom and continental rivals Namibia. Kenya Morans are in Pool C and will face neighbors Uganda Cranes, former World Rugby 7 Series core side Portugal, and National 7 Series champions Homeboys. Spain highlight Pool B that has 2015 champions Samurai International, Red Whalers from South Africa and emerging Uganda. Both teams will be under the tutelage of Kenya Sevens head coach Paul Murunga. And Athletics Kenya is organizing a series of conferences to sensitize athletes against doping in the fight against the doping menace in the country starting Saturday, a day marked to create awareness to the athletes and other sports persons on the use of banned substances. A number of athletes have been banned and the federation is now seeking to reach more athletes as a way of eradicating the menace, which has put Kenya on the watch list. According to Athletics Kenya North Rift branch, all is set for the day and they will be expecting a large number of athletes to attend the function. Last year's event was marked in Nyahururu, Laikipia County and Kapsabet, Nandi County, where a number of athletes reside. Athletes from Uasin Gishu, Nandi, Baringo, Trans Nzoia, West Pokot and Turkana counties are expected to attend.
Say from their own that enough is enough, and they have to use the natural blood that God gave them rather than adding something that will affect the rest of their lives.
And CSK Moscow are currently playing Roma and Valencia taking on Young Boys in the early kickoffs of the Champions League. Later tonight, Manchester United's clash with Juventus. Defending champions Real Madrid travel to Victoria Pleasant in a pick of tonight's clashes. Last night, Liverpool went down 2-0 to Red Star Belgrade, while Barcelona were held 1-1 by spirited Inter Milan in San Siro.
In Group C, Liverpool's Champions League hopes were left in the
Ronaldo made headlines for all the wrong reasons last year. Now it seems Mohamed Salah is following suit after photos of his hilarious